as good to watch. I will say that
Well,
right now.
big surprise.
Well, I mean, and not because Eddie Edwards and Sammy Callahan aren't doing good work, because they are, but the wife part kind of throws things off, and it's not being done as well. Sadly, I think last night on Impact, they had a match in the forest, which is kind of probably trying to play off the whole broken universe thing that they had going on there before, but I haven't watched it yet, so I can't
it's
really
not the
comment.
guys that have done the broken thing, then
Well, none of them are there anymore.
Exactly. So what
Jeremy
are you doing?
Borash is not there. The Hardys aren't there. I mean, what are you going to do? But anyway, so it's been fantastic. So I will note this before we move on to the WWE Network topic. If you haven't given NXT a chance and all you have seen of it is the NXT takeovers, obviously you have the network, or if you have Hulu, the NXT is also available on Hulu. Do yourself a favor and give it a watch. Their TV product is fantastic. Yes, it's taped in advance. Yes, you can see the spoilers online. But even if you know what happens, the show sucks you in, and it's really good. So I highly recommend anyone to go out and watch NXT, because I think it's one of their best products that they've ever put out. And I'm excited about it. 205 Live has actually been really good too, which you can also catch on Hulu if you don't have the WWE Network. So give those two a shot. I think you'll be much impressed. So let's talk about the WWE Network. We've kind of been talking about it anyway with the NXT stuff and the mention of 205 Live. But the WWE Network is something that you and I both cherish very much. I would say I watch it every day. You watch it every day.
Yep.
So let's talk about it. You've been subscribed since day one. I've been subscribed since day one. What are some of the non-in-ring shows that are available on the network that you found to be your favorites?
I love the WWE 24 stuff. I've always been a big fan of the documentaries and the DVDs because for a long time, you don't have the network and you aren't really into buying a lot of stuff from the WWE or whatever the situation may be. If you didn't buy the DVDs and you hadn't seen some of these documentaries, it's a big chunk of information that you could be losing out on. Now, to be fair, some of those are the revisionist history, if you will, and some people don't really like that. But hey, if you didn't want to have them told this way, you should have won the war, or you should have done this. You shouldn't have let WWE win them. So that's how I think in that regard. But stuff, like the rise and fall of ECW and the classic stuff that were on DVDs before, I always loved them, and it was like blew my mind when people told me that they hadn't seen it. I was like, what do you mean? Like, this is so great, you got to watch this, but they wouldn't want to go out and see that. Nowadays, they've had these great documentaries that are just as in depth. They cover a wide variety of topics, classic or new, or they've got the guy sitting table for three is really good. And it's all this information that you only could get access to from like a DVD or a pay-per-view or something, and it's all under one umbrella. And when you have that tied in with the live pay-per-views, which, I mean, that's really the value you're getting aside from the on-demand library. The value of getting the live stuff is just incredible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the pay-per-views alone are worth the $9.95 a month, especially when you consider that you're paying $40 for a pay-per-view before. Please.
Oh yeah.
It's well worth it. But my favorite things to watch, I've really enjoyed the Ride Along show. I've really enjoyed the Table for Three shows. I think those are fantastic. There's a whole series of Legends shows, not Legends the House, but there was a Legends of Wrestling, I think it was called, Roundtables.
Yeah, those were on. Those used to be on WWE 24/7.
Yeah, and they put them on the network.
Yes, that was
so
another
good.
thing that we only had along with DVDs. I mean, my God, they'd put the big ones up. It was called the big ones. It was a section, and it would be one random classic pay-per-view, one from any of the three promotions, and I would be salivating, waiting for that next pay-per-view to even be announced. But it was only one show. So when you bring the network on, and it's like, oh, by the way, here's every single show you've ever wanted to watch ever for one price. I mean, that's how I love the network for that specifically. You can never get enough classic stuff in my book.
Yeah, another one I really actually enjoyed, which I didn't know if I would or not, I really enjoyed the Holy Foley show.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
That's very interesting. I never would have expected you to say that.
No, me neither, man. I didn't think I was going to like it going in, but I decided to give it a shot, and Mick Foley's freaking hilarious. So I got a kick out of it. And then watching his daughter try to become a wrestler, I mean, Noelle seems like she's frail as hell.
Yeah,
and
she's tiny.
and to watch her take these bumps and get hurt and all this stuff was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if you're gonna make it. And I mean, I haven't watched all of season 2 yet, but I did watch the first 6 or so episodes, and I don't think she made it, but just a fun show, I thought. And the whole dynamic between him and his family is fascinating to me. So I actually got involved in that and thought it was good. So very odd.
That is very odd.
But I figured I'd give it a shot and actually binge the whole thing. So
I mean, it's there. I mean, you're paying the money. Why not, right?
Well, exactly. What if you're going to sit down for the WWE Network at any given time? What's your normal go-to? What are you reaching for first?
If I'm bored, if I see anything classic, I'll give you an example here in a second. I'll just put on whatever I think is on my mind. Now, generally, it's going to be a WCW anything, probably a pay-per-view. Generally from just, I don't know, 93 onward. If I'm watching anything from the WWF, it's in that era too. It's the 93 to 95 stuff that people regard as like the worst time in wrestling. Mm-hmm. But it was when I was born in 93. So this is stuff I never would have remembered, and it gets such a bad rap, and I love every minute of it. I get so hooked in. I love the commentary, the buying into the kayfabe so hard back then. Just everything is so pure, and all the fans loved it just as much as any other fan should. And that's what I normally would pop in. But back to the original thing when we first talked about this, February 24th, 2014, that's when it came out. I remember that day very vividly. I had a class in college I attended, and it was like at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. It might have been 9 a.m. So as soon as the class started, I had my laptop with me, and I bought the network. And then as soon as class was over, I was walking to lunch, or not to lunch, but just to grab food. And I turned on Great American Bash 1992 to watch Vader and Sting because, I mean, Sting is one of my favorites growing up, and every match he's had with Vader is just insane. That was one of the ones I picked, and it never stopped. I mean, now I'll pick up any random pay-per-view I'll be watching. And the other note I was going to make is I'm heading out to California tomorrow, actually, and I'm going to be visiting Alcatraz on Sunday, so I'm going to be watching Super Brawl
7, yep.
Because
right,
I remember watching I think we bought it on pay-per-view because I have it on VHS, like we recorded it, and I remember just him going berserk in the jail, and then him on that ferry, and it's like the worst weather possible. It's February, and he's out there in his kilt like that. I love that, and
that's awesome because when I stopped watching wrestling in 92, 93 or for time frame, and didn't pick it back up to 96. And you know what got me to pick it back up? Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper.
And that
Starrcade 96.
It gets left in the dark because he won the match, but there was no title on the line. It was just an odd time.
That was a really weird thing, too, because everything going into that made it sound like it was a title match. And
of course. Hey, that's WCW for you.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible. But
you won't know until the next night on Nitro if something's going to be happening or not.
Exactly.
For sure.
First pay-per-view I bought coming back was Starrcade 96, and then my second one was Super Brawl 7. My favorite match was the Benoit Sullivan match.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap, that was good.
And
I didn't know any of the storyline at that point.
Oh, no.
So,
the only way we had anything to follow storylines were PWI, the magazines.
Oh, jeez,
we would only buy them at the grocery store. Like, I didn't even have a subscription. And we would just go and buy those or any of the WWF, WCW magazines. I've got hundreds of them just from doing that alone.
Yeah,
and we'd find the storylines out from that, and again, I was 4, 5, 6 around this time. And I remember Super Brawl 7, a lot of the shows from '97, because I was a huge Sting fan. So whenever he turned black and went against Hogan, who I hated because that was so weird. Like I grew up hating Hulk Hogan because that's just where I grew up, and just amazing times and. That's why I love going back. It's the stuff I'll never forget, and I'm so thankful for the network because, like, if I'm bored, if I'm down, if I had a bad day at work or whatever, like, I can easily put on something that it brings me back 20 years, and I feel at peace for 3.5 hours, and I can hear Bobby Heenan and Tony, and the fact that Conrad and all these new podcasts now bringing back these older commentators, that helps even more. Like they talk about these shows that I've loved talking about forever, and they're finally getting the light to talk about it. And it's great to be a wrestling fan right now. There's so much out there, so much.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, my go-to when I get on there is I'm the same as you. I usually typically look for a WCW pay-per-view that I want to watch parts of again, or I'll go to the WWE. Lately, I've been trying to find some shows in the 2006 to 2009 time frame.
Right in the Daily Suplex wheelhouse.
Oh, and they're not good. They're not good.
Yeah, and we had to call in and talk about how good or not good they were. And yet that was 2005 was when I got back into wrestling, because I got out of wrestling. Well, I wasn't really out of it, but like we just stopped watching once WCW went down. I don't remember watching much of it. I never WWF at all. So once it was about 2004, and I heard that the Undertaker had come back, and it was like the old Undertaker, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like I loved scary, creepy Undertaker. Like that'd be really cool. And by that next year's WrestleMania, I was a huge John Cena fan. I have his CD, and I have his CD too. All in. I was all in, man. I was all in, and ever since I have not missed a WrestleMania on pay-per-view, and I've been to the last 3 live. So that roped me in, and I love those years.
I gotta tell you, I hated John Cena the rapper gimmick,
okay.
But when he came out with there was one song that he came out with that I thought was just so good. I found
Bad Man.
Nope. No, it's a
Chain Gang is the Click.
Nope. No, it's a real slow song, rap song that he did with Trademark.
Is it the one that he did, and he had like the videos of like him and his where he grew up and stuff?
Yes.
Hold on, I got the album right next to me. Hold on.
He's got it right next to him.
It's right, literally, it's right on this shelf.
That's fantastic.
We got The Time Is Now.
Nope.
Don't F with us.
No.
Oh, I know it, but I was gonna say it. Is it Right Now?
Yep.
Yep, there it is. Number 4, Right Now.
Good tune.
He had features with Bumpy Knuckles and Esoteric, whoever the hell that is.
Whatever. But I remember I found that years later in the dollar section of Half Price Books and bought it just because.
I bought it like day of.
Yeah. Well, we got about a minute left here before we're going to go off air. Quickly, what do you think is missing from the network currently that you'd like to see added?
So they just added WCW Saturday Night and Thunder, but only some of them. I think once you get the full stuff on there. But the biggest, and I'm a WCW fan, so that's all that matters to me, but the lack of WWF superstars and Wrestling Challenge and primetime wrestling from 89 onward. They have nothing on there, and it's so good. I only picked up stuff from the magazines, but there's so many classic things that I want to watch. So I hope that they put it on there.
That's what I grew up on, man. WWF Challenge and Superstars on Sundays. That was what I grew up on. So I would love to see some of that just to relive it again, because I think it would be fantastic. So as you can tell, Juice and I are huge fans of the WWE Network. So we highly recommend that you go out and get it for the price. If you love wrestling, you can't beat
probably less than $500 over the course of these years, and we've gotten so much.
Absolutely. It's
incredible.
I get every pay-per-view, man. Every pay-per-view.
Yeah,
would have cost me $40 a month. I don't have to anymore.
At least. So, and you don't miss anything. You keep up.
You don't. It's highly recommended. So that's going to do it for the show this week. Juice, I thank you for joining me as always. We'll be back next week to preview NXT TakeOver and Money in the Bank. And so join us for that. Until then, we'll see you online at Twitter. Brian Thomas 878 and at Juicy Steen. Thank you and have a great night.
It is exhausting being so talented.
I'm not ready for you!
You are not even worth my time.